if I could ask people to find a seat, that would be fantastic. Gosh, y'all got quiet quickly. Well, good afternoon. My name is Vernon Baker, and for those folks that I haven't had the opportunity and pleasure to meet, I'm the president and CEO here at the Pines, and I'm delighted, absolutely delighted to welcome you, for those of you that are attending in person, as well as those joining virtually, to this very special celebration in our new Davidson room. Isn't this a wonderful space? So we're here today to celebrate the completion of the rebuilding project and to thank all of those that made this transformation of our campus possible. A sheer remarkable number of people have shared their talents, their resources, their expertise, and their patience over the last 3 years, especially the residents, their patience, and staff for that matter. For the benefit of all who are in this room today, and for the resident staff, and also the overall community to benefit into the future. Due to so many people's dedicated work and commitment, we now have a beautifully expanded Jeton Community Center with lovely dining venues. Unfortunately, we've consolidated to one because of staffing, but we still have those lovely dining venues that we soon, hopefully in the very near future, will take advantage of and be able to serve you as we intend. Lovely or wonderful new fitness spaces, a spacious and elegant new nursing wing, and beautifully landscaped area and grounds. We were just having a conversation with several people today about how beautiful the landscaping and grounds are. Most of you here remember the Pines before this construction project. I, unfortunately, wasn't here before. I didn't know the before stage, but I'm familiar with a bit of the in-between stage, because I visited almost a year ago during the interview process and saw the construction teams dedicating their time and attention to the many details to create all these new spaces. I wore a hard hat, a vest, and stepped over lots of plastic and cords and machinery as the workers continued their work to construct these areas. And I'm so happy that on my very first day here at the Pines, which was March 22nd, this past March, I welcomed many of you during the grand opening of our Heritage Dining Room. It was a wonderful way for me to begin here at the Pines. And I was so happy. Oh, sorry, missed my spot. We're so grateful to the many individuals, including all the special guests who were part of our program today. I want to give a very special thanks to Motri Prosic, our Director of Development and Communications, for her hard work in planning for today's event. Now I'd like to welcome Reverend Phil Craig to the podium to start our dedication appreciation celebration with the prayer. Thanks so much.
Thank you, sir. Just a moment of silence, please. Holy One, we're gathered here today in thanksgiving for all the efforts of so many people to help this amazing project come to fruition. Help us, Holy One, to appreciate the work and financial support that was so generously offered to continue the founding vision of the Pines at Davidson. May we also be aware of the patience and sacrifice of all the members and staff of our community as the reshaping took place. In the days ahead, as we experience the variety of venues from food, recreation, and healthcare, with one another, and even with those who are yet to come. Help us to be even more grateful for the Spirit you have poured out on this unforgettable place. Amen. Now it gives me great pleasure to introduce the Chairman of the Board of Directors, Mr. Harrison Marshall.
Thank you, Phil, and thank you especially for your thoughtful words of prayer on this special occasion. As Vernon shared, we're grateful to all the individuals who have helped make possible this dramatic rebuilding of the Pines. And now I have the great privilege of thanking some of them. As you can imagine, a great deal of planning went into these changes, years before any area was excavated or any nail was hammered. And then during the actual construction, there were all the details that go into a complex building process, both a health center and a residence building, each needing focused attention and expertise. And all of this done, I might add, under the constraints of the COVID pandemic. I want to recognize some of the individuals who made this rebuilding effort so successful. First, former board chair Barb Nightinger, who played a key role in the pivotal moments of this project. Alongside Dr. Louis Sigmund and the late Dr. Bill Williams, who served as co-chairs of the board's strategic planning process. Barb guided the board as it identified the future needs of the Pines, which included this important transformation of our facilities. We're grateful for their thoughtful engagement in this process. Barb was continuing to serve as the board chair when work began, and while the Pines was engaged in its successful $3 million Great People Special Places campaign, which ensured that important details in this project could be funded and therefore realized. Barb could not join us today. Dr. Sigmund is joining us virtually, and Margot Williams, the spouse of Dr. Williams, is here today along with her son and daughter-in-law. We extend our deepest thanks to the board's leadership during this historic time for the Pines. Our architects then took the ideas that had been determined by the Pines board and translated them into comprehensive plans that were refined by the board, the administrators, and others who lent their expertise to the process. This planning included a survey of current and future residents to identify what they wanted to see in our facilities and services in the future. Two architectural firms engaged in this design phase. The firm SFCS drew the plans for the Jatan Community Center improvements in the new nursing wing. We're delighted to recognize Carrie Buck of SFCS, who is here today. Additionally, the firm RBA designed the villas at Poplar Hill, our new residential setting with spectacular views. And we'd like to recognize David Malashuka of RBA, who's joining us today. Carrie and David, would you please stand and wave? Thank you. There they are. Great work. We appreciate it. The construction team from Rogers has been a reliable partner for almost all of the building projects at the Pines through the years, including the initial building of the Pines. We're grateful for their expertise, their attention to detail, their commitment to building superb structures. Construction is always challenging. Unforeseen problems invariably arise. And to add to this, again, a pandemic. But having a good team of capable, congenial people to solve these issues is a special gift. And so we're delighted to recognize Pat Rogers, CEO of Rogers, who has joined us today. Pat, would you please stand? There she is. Thank you. Thank you, Pat, for your leadership that makes Rogers a joy to work with. We're grateful. We're pleased to have with us today a number of other individuals who participated in the rebuilding of the Pines. As I read your name, would you please stand up and wave? Mark McCauley of Coleman, Genest, and Stone, who lent their civil engineering expertise to our project. John Allred of New Centric, who provided guidance with the low voltage infrastructure. Philip Tripp of Surface 678, who created our landscaping design. Henry DeBoer of Designia Landscape, who implemented these campus-wide designs. And David Yeager and Brad Lucas, who are the project managers of this comprehensive process. Brad is joining us virtually. But thank you all for your expertise and commitment to the Pines. As a small token of our appreciation, we have a gift for you, which we will give to you after the program. We also want to recognize one former and 3 current members of the Pines leadership team. Together with their staff, the Pines and the Pines project managers, these individuals thoughtfully helped supervise this comprehensive process. Steve Jewell, our former CEO, led the Pines through many stages of the project, including the initial planning and construction. While he's not here today, we extend our deep thanks to Steve for his work. David Rainey did a remarkable job of arranging the financing that has made this process possible, this project possible. And he provided tireless attention to detail, that's David's middle name, during the design and construction phases of the project. We all know that David's commitment to the well-being of the Pines for more than 33 years is extraordinary. Scott Chenery treated the rebuilding project as if it were being done on his own home. Scott's expertise and personal engagement to all parts of this project have been outstanding. And we can't forget Motria Prosic, our Director of Development and Communication. Motria led the very successful Great People, Special Places campaign. With her gentle persistence and ever-present smile, Motria inspired a generous spirit among those in the room and many others. So Scott, David, and Motria, please stand and wave. Thank you all. Great job. And finally, I'd like to extend thanks to one more important group, you, our residents. Thank you for your patience during the rebuilding process. It was tough for all of you in every corner of the campus. And to add to that, again, a pandemic. We'll especially remember your creative, joyful, and cathartic artwork on the marvelous graffiti wall. Whether you lived here throughout the entire construction, lived and suffered here throughout the entire construction, or timed it just right and moved to the Pines during the project's final stages, please know how grateful we are for your understanding during the challenging process. We got through it. And now we can enjoy these beautiful settings. I now welcome Paul Leonard, a resident of the Pines, to share some reflections. Paul?
When Vernon and Motria asked me to share my reflections today, I asked them how much they had been drinking.
The pub is closed.
In 1977, a small group of volunteers at Davidson College Presbyterian Church, led by Bob and Pat Salestead and Mildred and William Workman, started thinking about the need for a retirement community in Davidson. Sam Spencer, the college president, introduced them to Highland Farms, a for-profit retirement community, and its director, Chester Prentice. Prentice offered to partner with the group that then called themselves the Davidson Retirement Community Committee. In 1978, the college trustees finance committee voted to offer this group the option to buy the McConnell property on Concord Road. A plan was sketched out and the site deemed workable. In 1979, an economic recession hit, and the plans for the McConnell property and the partnership with Prentice of Highland Farms had to be canceled. But guess what? Those volunteers were not giving up on plans for a Davidson retirement community. So for the next 4 years, they kept talking and recruiting more volunteers with names we will all recognize: Avenger, Kimbrough, Renal. And on February 9, 1983, the Pines at Davidson was incorporated as a nonprofit retirement community. And in April, the board launched a $100,000 campaign to buy land and pay some administrative cost. Then in January 1984, the board purchased the Thompson Farm where we are today. Without the vision, commitment, persistence, and love of these early volunteers, the Pines would not exist. I think of the Davidson College Presbyterian Church and its members, the college, and the town as the pillars of this wonderful community. They're the founding pillars. And today we celebrate our most recent campaign and building. We need to give thanks and celebrate the work and persistence of the founding pillars. Would you help me? A little side note. In 1984, I was president of the John Crosland Company in Charlotte, and we were building homes and apartments all over the state. So we saw the Pines as a building opportunity. It turns out that I negotiated the farmland purchase on behalf of the church through discussions with my college classmate, D.G. Martin, who was the landowner of record, holding as a trustee for a group that included his wife, Harriet Martin, and her brother, Craig Wall Jr. Crosland did end up doing the initial land development and built the first 12 cottages. And our son, John, was assistant superintendent on those 12 cottages. I think better still, we helped introduce the Pines to Rogers Builders, who we celebrate today not only for the new villas, healthcare building, Davidson room, and dining facilities, but for all the construction they have led and managed for the Pines from the beginning. Can we give them one more? As I reflect on the Pines' history and the current ups and downs and those faced by the early volunteers that made this happen, I keep thinking about the Oak Ridge Boys and their song, "It Takes a Little Rain." Takes a little rain to make love grow. It's the heartache and the pain that make a real heart show. Where the sun shines all the time, there's a desert below. Takes a little rain to make love grow. Now I'd like to welcome Kathy Pilkington to the podium. Thank you.
Thank you, Paul. Thank you. Good afternoon. And it is a good afternoon. It's just such a joy for me to be here at the Pines and to see many familiar faces. I have only been on this campus maybe twice in the last 18 months, and I have truly missed being here. I am honored to speak today in place of Linda Need, who is the current chair of the Development Committee and who could not be with us here today, but I understand is here with us virtually. I joined the board in 2003. I worked in downtown Charlotte at that time, and I can remember leaving that busy city, traveling up I-77, dealing with the traffic, becoming even more frazzled as I drove through Davidson, and then arriving at the Pines, which felt like an oasis. It was beautiful, it was calm, and it was serene. My mother, Betty Laughlin, lived here for 10 years. And during that time, I visited the Pines frequently. Each time, I still had those same feelings of calmness and knowing that my mother was receiving excellent care. Throughout my years on the board, I have always been inspired by those who work to make this community special. So today, I am honored to be here to thank the donors to our Great People, Special Places campaign, the people whose generosity made the new Great Places at the Pines possible. These thoughtful contributors are listed in your program, and I direct your attention to your program. There is the list, and that list includes the Pines Residents Association, which made the initial gift that launched this campaign. We are grateful to the many residents, staff, board members, family members, and other friends of the Pines who contributed to this effort. Later this year, we will install a permanent donor wall in the Chaton Community Center to recognize these donors. A replica of these plaques is on display in the back of the room. I also want to extend a special note of gratitude to those whose extraordinary generosity we honored with named spaces in our new nursing wing, fitness rooms, and dining areas. And I direct your attention to that list of these named spaces in your program. Please join me in thanking these individuals and all our campaign donors for their caring and generous spirit. Thank you. So I am delighted now to introduce Roger Cothran, Chair of the Residents Association, who will provide the closing remarks.
Thank you, Kathy. First, on behalf of the Residents Association, I would like to thank the Board of Directors and management for developing and implementing a strategic plan which resulted in the construction of so many new and attractive facilities for residents. I also want to thank Vernon and Motria, Wendy, and all those who helped to make the celebration today a reality. It is a pleasure to be part of this dedication, which will certainly be remembered as a major milestone in our community's history. Special gatherings like this are moments when time sort of freezes. Together, we take time to reflect on the past, the present, and the future of the Pines. And together, we reaffirm our appreciation of all those who helped shape our community. The Pines will always be a work in progress, and I know you will join me in envisioning the many new ways we can continue to become a better community. But now it's time to celebrate. Enough of the speeches. We invite you to enjoy champagne, sparkling cider, and hors d'oeuvres, which will be served in several places, including the Heritage Restaurant, the pub, and at the back of this room. So let's be merry and raise our glasses to a job well done. Thank you. Thank you for joining us.